Welcome, friend, to the quiet space of Lotus Whisper. Tonight, the world outside may press upon you, and Part 1, the weight of the pebble and the vastness of the ocean. We settle now into the deep, velvet stillness of the evening. Let the day's sharp edges soften and dissolve into the pervasive quiet that surrounds this moment. We are standing at the threshold of the garden gate, where the air itself seems to thicken with the scent of damp earth and night-blooming jasmine. Feel the gentle gravitational pull downward, inviting the body to relinquish its held tension, its unnecessary preparedness. Tonight, we seek not to solve nor to strive, but simply to yield. We observe the currents of existence, realizing that the greatest burdens we carry are often those we have refused to set down. The path to surrender is simply the recognition that we are already held, cradled within the vast, silent architecture of the cosmos. Breathe here, deeply, and allow the whisper of the lotus to guide your awareness inward. The light that spills into this quiet space is not the harsh, delineating brilliance of the sun, but the aged, patient silver of the moon. It is a light that does not demand attention, but offers illumination, a soft, pervasive wash that smooths the rough contours of the world. Look now, not with your eyes, but with the quiet awareness of your body, at the way the shadows lengthen and deepen around the ancient stones of the garden path. These shadows are not dark voids, but reservoirs of stillness, places where the frantic energy of the day has finally come to rest. As you settle into this pervasive calm, allow your attention to drift like a floating leaf upon a still pond toward the physical reality of this moment. Notice the subtle, persistent hum of resistance that the body often maintains. It is a tension that has become so familiar it registers not as pain, but as the baseline expectation of being. We are seeking the sensation of holding, of gripping the reins of control, even when there is nothing left to guide. Begin with the shoulders. Feel the gentle, heavy cloak of expectation draped across the trapezius muscles. This weight is often carried unconsciously, a subtle elevation, a millimeter of unnecessary lift maintained hour after hour. It is the physical manifestation of the internal argument, the subtle refusal to accept what simply is. Trace this line of tension from the base of the neck, where the spine meets the skull, outward toward the rounded points of the acromion. Sense the density there, the knot of preparedness that insists, even in this moment of rest, that something must be guarded, something must be held firm. Now, let your awareness travel slowly down the arms, past the elbows, pausing at the hands. Are the fingers slightly curled? Is there a faint tightness in the palm, a readiness to grasp or clench? This tension is the echo of the mind's desire to possess, control the outcome, to stop the ceaseless, flowing river of life and hold just one perfect drop in place. Do not judge this tension, simply recognize it. It is not an enemy but a messenger, telling you where the resistance resides. The air around you is cool, carrying the faint, earthy musk of rich, damp soil. It is a clean, deep scent, entirely free of the day's dust. Draw this cool, clean air inward, a slow, deliberate sip that fills the lower chambers of the lungs. As the chest expands, feel the ribcage gently lift, but ensure the shoulders remain low, heavy, and anchored. And as you exhale, let the breath be a physical release, a soft, audible sound that is not a sigh of exhaustion, but a sigh of surrender. Let the shoulders drop a fraction of a millimeter further. Imagine the density in those muscles softening, melting away like wax exposed to gentle heat, flowing downward, harmlessly, into the earth beneath you. Listen now to the soundscape of the garden. Above the near silence, there is a distinct rhythmic presence, the bamboo grove. The stalks are tall, slender, and hollow, swaying gently in a breeze so faint it barely stirs the surface of the pond. The sound they make is a dry, whispering shh, a sound of inherent flexibility. It is not a sound of struggle, but of yielding. Observe how the bamboo moves. When the wind presses against it, the stalk does not resist with rigidity. It bows. It bends deeply, gracefully, meeting the force with pliancy. And when the force passes, it springs back, not to its original rigid state, but to a state of readiness, perfectly centered, perfectly yielding. The bamboo teaches the profound wisdom of non-resistance. To meet the pressure with flexibility is to remain unbroken. We turn our attention now to the most subtle, yet often the most persistent, reservoir of held tension, the jaw. The jaw is the silent sentinel of the mind's internal arguments, the place where we clench down on unspoken words, on unresolved conflicts, on the fierce desire for things to be different than they are. Feel the muscles around the temples, the masseter muscles near the hinge of the jaw. Are the upper and lower teeth touching? Is the tongue pressed hard against the roof of the mouth? This clenching is the physical form of the mind's resistance, the refusal to let go of the argument, the insistence that we must grit our teeth and bear the weight of the moment. With your next exhalation, soften the hinge of the jaw. Allow the teeth to part, just enough so that a sliver of darkness exists between the upper and lower rows. Let the tongue rest heavily in the floor of the mouth. Imagine the muscles around the mouth softening, the facial expression dissolving into a neutral, unburdened repose. This is the face of acceptance, the silent agreement that for this moment, nothing needs to be held firm. We carry burdens that do not belong to us, or burdens that are simply the natural texture of existence, yet we insist on carrying them in the most inefficient way possible, with resistance. Think now of a tale told long ago, a Zen parable concerning a young monk named Kenji. Kenji was dedicated to his practice, but his mind was troubled by the vastness of his duties. He felt the weight of the monastery, the weight of his own imperfect nature, and the sheer impossibility of ever achieving true enlightenment. One day, the master found Kenji struggling across the courtyard, his back bowed, his steps slow and labored. In his arms, Kenji carried a large, rough stone, a boulder that must have weighed many pounds. "Kenji," the master called, his voice gentle as the rustling bamboo, "why do you carry such a heavy stone?" Kenji stumbled to a halt, sweat beading on his brow. "Master, this stone is necessary for the construction of the new wall. I must carry it to the site." The master nodded slowly, his eyes reflecting the deep blue of the sky. "Indeed. But tell me, Kenji, if you were to set the stone down, would the stone still exist?" "Yes, master," Kenji replied, confused. "It would simply be resting on the earth." "And if you were to set the stone down, would the wall still need to be built?" "Yes, master. The task remains." "Then tell me, Kenji," the master asked, stepping closer and placing a gentle hand on the monk's strained shoulder. "If the stone remains, and the task remains, what precisely are you carrying right now that you could set down?" Kenji looked at the stone, then at his master's serene face, and finally, he understood. He was not merely carrying the physical weight of the stone, he was carrying the resistance to the weight. He was carrying the anxiety of the effort, the impatience with the journey, the silent argument against the reality of the task. He was carrying the burden of wishing the stone were lighter, the path shorter, or the need non-existent. The master smiled. "The stone is just the stone. The weight you feel is your refusal to accept that the stone must be carried. The moment you accept the weight, the mind ceases its struggle, and only the body's effort remains. And the body, unlike the resistant mind, is designed for effort and rest." Kenji slowly, deliberately, lowered the stone to the earth. The physical effort of lowering it was still present, yet the internal anguish vanished entirely. The courtyard suddenly seemed brighter, the air fresher. The weight was not gone, but the burden had dissolved. We, too, are carrying the stone, not necessarily in our arms, but in the clench of the jaw, the elevation of the shoulder, the tightness across the chest. The stone is the reality of the moment, the challenge, the uncertainty, the simple fact of existence. The weight is the resistance to that reality. Now, bring your attention back to your own body, resting here in the soft, silver light. We are going to practice setting down the stone of resistance. Take a breath, slow and deep. Inhale the cool, refreshing air, noticing its subtle metallic scent mixed with earth. As you draw the air in, consciously identify the areas that are resisting. Is it the forehead, furrowed in concentration? Is it the pit of the stomach, held tight in anticipation? Hold the breath lightly for a moment, not straining, just noticing the apex of stillness. And now, exhale. Let the sound of the exhalation be the sound of the stone meeting the soft earth. A long, slow release. With this release, feel the muscles along the spine begin to yield. Imagine the tension in your back, which has been holding your spine unnaturally rigid, softening into a fluid curve. Allow yourself to be supported fully by whatever surface holds you. If you are sitting, feel the chair or the cushion beneath you, accepting your full, unedited weight. If you are lying down, feel the vast, unmoving stability of the earth rising up to cradle you. You do not need to hold yourself up. The universe is already holding you. Focus again on the jaw. This is a crucial point of surrender. The resistance here is often the last to go. Imagine the muscle fibers in the masseter relaxing so completely that they feel heavy, almost slack. The facial expression softens, the brow unfurrows, and the tension around the eyes, where we often strain to see the future, melts away. Let your thoughts drift past, like the clouds moving silently across the face of the moon. Do not engage them. Do not judge them. They are merely shadows cast by the internal landscape. If a thought arises that causes a spike of tension, a reminder of a task, a grievance, a worry, simply label it. This is the pebble. And then, gently, release the pebble. Allow the thought to drift away on the next slow exhalation. The goal is not to eliminate effort, but to eliminate resistance to necessary effort. Right now, the only necessary effort is the gentle rhythm of breathing. Everything else is the burden of the mind's argument. Feel the vastness of the space around you. The garden extends outward, silent and deep, bathed in the moon's ancient glow. Above the garden, the sky stretches into an infinity of silent, dark space. Your small, temporary worries, the pebbles you carry, are utterly insignificant against this backdrop of cosmic scale. The rustling bamboo continues its gentle, persistent lesson. Listen closely to the sound. It is a sound of peace achieved through yielding. The sound changes slightly as the breeze shifts, sometimes a quick, dry rattle, sometimes a deep, resonant hum. But always, it is the sound of effortless acceptance. Imagine the strength of the bamboo is not in its hardness, but in its hollowness. It is empty, and thus it can accommodate everything. It is flexible, and thus it can withstand every pressure. Inhale. Draw in the quiet strength of the flexible bamboo. Feel the air moving deep into your center, grounding you. Exhale. Release the last vestiges of rigidity in your posture, in your chest, in your mind. We are moving from the state of anxiety, which is the fierce insistence that things must be otherwise, toward the initial recognition of stillness, which is the gentle, profound acceptance of what is. If you find your shoulders creeping back toward your ears, gently guide them down. Imagine a heavy, warm liquid pouring through your neck and shoulders, flushing the tension downward and out through your fingertips and toes. Feel the weight settling, becoming grounded. We are surrendering the need to control the immediate outcome, knowing that the river of existence flows perfectly well without our constant, anxious steering. We are simply floating, carried by the current. The moon watches over this quiet surrender. Its light is constant, regardless of the chaos on the ground. Its presence is the symbol of deep, unwavering peace. Allow this calm, silver light to enter your body through the crown of your head, washing down through the core, dissolving any remaining pockets of resistance. We have identified the pebble, the sensation of holding, the tightness in the jaw, the rigidity in the back. We have realized that the weight is self-imposed, a resistance to the current moment. Now, we simply rest in the spaciousness created by that realization. The body is heavier, the breath is deeper, and the mind, for the first time tonight, is beginning to yield. We are entering the vastness of the ocean, where the small pebble of our worry vanishes into the endless, supportive depth. Rest here, in the quiet strength of the yielding bamboo. Part 2. The unfolding scroll of impermanence. The initial stillness deepens now, settling like dust in a quiet, undisturbed room. We remain within this space of quiet acceptance, turning our attention toward the great, fundamental law that governs all things, the law of change, of anicca. Feel the air around you. It is no longer the air of the previous moment. The particles have shifted, the temperature has minutely adjusted. The very pressure upon your skin is a fleeting, unique phenomenon that will never occur again. This current of existence carries us forward, not violently, but with the inevitable, gentle persuasion of a great river flowing to the sea. Bring your awareness down to the surface beneath your hands or the ground supporting your body. Imagine a vast, smooth surface of ancient wood, perhaps the floor of a temple veranda or the polished surface of a low ceremonial table. This wood has been tended for centuries, smoothed by the passage of countless hands and the soft sweep of brooms. Run your mind's fingers across its texture. It is cool, profoundly cool, absorbing the heat of the air and holding it in its dense heart. This coolness is not sharp or jarring. It is a profound, steady temperature, a calming anchor. Notice how the smoothness is not absolute. If you were to trace the grain with the sensitivity of a master craftsman, you would feel the subtle ridges, the faint, almost invisible valleys where the wood fibers once grew in bursts of summer and lulls of winter. Each line is a record of time, a tiny inscription of impermanence. The tree that birthed this wood is gone, yet its history remains, polished and preserved, a testament to transformation. The wood smells faintly of itself, a dry, earthy scent, mingled with the ghost of something else. This is the scent of sandalwood, a deep, resonant fragrance that does not cling aggressively, but lingers in the memory of the air. It is the aroma of devotion, of quiet contemplation. Trace the path of this scent as it enters your nostrils, a warm, slightly sweet smoke memory that purifies the breath. It is a slow, heavy fragrance, grounding you, reminding you that even the most beautiful essence is temporary, dissolving slowly into the vastness of the atmosphere. As you inhale, the sandalwood is strongest, a clear, high note of resinous warmth. As you exhale, the scent softens, fading into the background, leaving only the neutral, clean air. Yet, when you draw the next breath, the fragrance is there again, subtly different, a renewed offering. This continuous appearance and disappearance mirrors the nature of all things. They arise, they persist for a time, and they pass away. Let us look outward, toward the slow, silent process of surrender happening constantly in the natural world. Picture a single leaf, late in the autumn season. It clings to the very tip of a branch, a remnant of the vibrant electric green of summer. Now, its color is a deep, burnished copper, streaked with the fading gold of the afternoon sun. It has completed its service to the tree. Its work is done. The connection point, the petiole that once fed it life-giving sap, has slowly, meticulously sealed itself off. The tree, in its ancient wisdom, has released its attachment. The leaf is now held only by the faintest membrane of tissue, a thread finer than silk. Observe the wind, not a harsh gust, but a languid, almost imperceptible sigh of air moving through the canopy. This gentle current nudges the leaf. It shifts perhaps a millimeter to the right, then settles. Another breath of wind, and the leaf trembles, vibrating at a frequency so low it is almost a feeling rather than a sound. The leaf does not resist. It does not cling with desperate strength. It merely waits, poised in the moment of transition. It knows, inherently, that its form is changing, that its purpose now lies in decomposition, in returning its captured essence back to the earth from which it arose. This is the profound elegance of surrender. Finally, a breath of air, perhaps slightly cooler than the others, passes by. It is the gentlest of nudges, yet it is enough. The final, fragile connection snaps. The leaf begins its descent. It does not plummet directly, but spirals slowly, reluctantly, caught in the currents of the air it once helped to purify. Watch its trajectory. It is an intricate, unpredictable dance. It drifts to the left, catches a thermal, floats upward for a moment, then begins its slow, measured rotation again, a tiny, silent gyroscope turning toward the ground. Each turn is an acceptance. Each moment of floating is a relinquishing of control. The leaf is now free from the branch, free from the fixed identity of being on the tree. It is simply a moment of color suspended in motion, a fleeting pattern against the vast, pale sky. The journey takes a long time. Time stretches and softens as you watch this single, solitary object surrendering to gravity and the flow of the air. It passes through the layers of the forest, weaving past branches that are already bare, past the dark, silent trunks that stand rooted in stillness. When it finally touches the earth, it lands not with a crash, but with a barely audible whisper, a soft, dry rustle against the forest floor. It joins the great accumulated carpet of those who have surrendered before it. This is the end of one form, but the beginning of another. The leaf will now begin to dissolve, its beautiful copper hue fading to brown, its crisp texture softening under the dew and the rain. Microscopic life will begin the slow, meticulous process of reclamation. The atoms that made the glorious color will become part of the soil, ready to nourish the root system of the very tree that released it. Nothing is lost, only transformed. This observation of the leaf is a mirror for our own inner landscape. We often spend so much energy clinging to the greenness of things, the peak moment of happiness, the fixed idea of a relationship, the unchanging certainty of a plan. But existence is not fixed. It is the river. Imagine a wide, powerful river moving steadily across the plain. We call it the river of time, or the river of self. When we stand on its bank, we believe we are seeing a constant entity. We say, "This is the river." But look closer. The water flowing past your feet right now is not the water that flowed past a moment ago. That water is miles downstream, already mingling with the ocean. The water you see now has just arrived, having rushed down from the mountain peaks, carrying the memory of snow and stone. The river is defined not by the water, but by the flow. The flow is the constant, ceaseless movement. Now, look at the banks of the river. They, too, are constantly changing. On the outer bend, where the current is fastest, The earth is slowly being eroded, grain by grain. The bank is crumbling, dissolving into the moving water. On the inner bend, where the water slows, sediment is being deposited. New land is being built up, millimeter by millimeter. The river changes its banks constantly. The shape of the river one month is different from the shape the next. Yet we still call it the same river. This is the perfect illustration of impermanence, anicca. Our physical body is like the river's water, constantly being replaced. Cells die and are reborn. The food we ate yesterday becomes the energy of today. Our thoughts are like the river's currents, rushing, swirling, sometimes calm, never the same twice. And our identity, our sense of I, is like the river's banks. We build up fixed ideas, habits, and attachments, believing them to be solid and eternal. But these too are eroded by experience, by loss, by new understanding, and they are rebuilt by new knowledge and acceptance. Do not try to force the river to hold its shape. Do not try to hold on to a single drop of water. Simply observe the flow. Let this understanding sink into the cool, smooth, polished surface of your mind. There is a deep, profound relaxation in knowing that nothing needs to be fixed, nothing needs to be grasped. The effort of holding on is exhausting. The moment we release the grip, the body and mind find natural rest. Feel the muscles around your jaw soften. The subtle tension you carry there is often the physical manifestation of trying to stop the flow, of arguing with reality. Let the jaw slacken. Let the tongue rest heavily in the floor of your mouth. Breathe now, following the flow of air. The in-breath is a moment of arrival, a filling, a building up, like the sediment on the inner bank of the river. It is a moment of fullness. The out-breath is a moment of release, a letting go, a passing away, like the water rushing downstream. It is a moment of emptiness. The space between the breaths is the transition, the threshold of change. Inhale, arising. Exhale, passing. There is no need to worry about the next breath. It will arise naturally, just as the river finds its path. There is no need to cling to the last breath. It has already dissolved into the atmosphere, becoming part of the world's great circulation. This constant, gentle motion is the rhythm of life itself. Consider the clouds above, if you were gazing up at the sky. They are the epitome of formlessness and movement. A cloud bank that looked like a great, solid mountain range 5 minutes ago has now stretched and thinned, becoming wispy streaks of light vapor. The light passing through them shifts, changing their color from brilliant white to soft gray, to the deep lavender of evening. The cloud does not struggle to maintain its form. It simply allows itself to be sculpted by the wind and dissolved by the sun. It does not mourn the loss of its mountain shape, for it knows that in dissolving, it is merely transforming into something else. Perhaps rain, perhaps mist, perhaps simply clear, invisible air. This is the practice of surrender, allowing your thoughts to be like the clouds. A worry arises, a cloud of anxiety, dark and dense. Do not try to fight it. Do not try to hold it in place. Simply notice its shape, its density, its color. Acknowledge its presence. Then, allow the wind of your awareness to touch it. Do not push, merely observe. Watch how, simply by being observed without judgment or grasping, the thought cloud begins to lose its sharp edges. It thins out. It becomes less substantial. It passes across the vast, open space of your mind and dissolves. You do not need to solve every thought. You do not need to fix every feeling. Like the leaf, they are meant to arise, fulfill their temporary function, and then pass away, returning their energy to the great cycle. This acceptance of impermanence is the cornerstone of inner peace. When we cease demanding permanence from a world built entirely on change, a profound relaxation floods the system. The tension in the shoulders, the tightness in the chest, the frantic energy behind the eyes, these are all monuments to the futile effort of trying to stop the flow of the river. With each slow, deep breath, let yourself feel lighter, more buoyant, like the leaf surrendered to the air. You are being carried. You are supported by the natural, ceaseless movement of existence. Return to the sensation of the sandalwood scent, subtle now, almost gone, a faint warmth in the cool air. It is the perfect metaphor for the trace memory of a beautiful moment. Do we need to burn more incense to hold on to the scent? No. We simply appreciate the lingering echo, knowing that the absence of the scent is just as natural as its presence. The mind often attempts to rewind time, to replay experiences, hoping to solidify them. But life is an unfolding scroll. It is always moving forward, revealing the next moment, covering the last. Let us practice resting in the unfolding. Imagine yourself sitting beside that great river. The water flows past, carrying leaves, branches, sometimes debris, sometimes the glittering reflection of the sun. These are your experiences, the good, the difficult, the mundane. Do you jump into the river to grab a particularly shiny piece of debris and try to hold it against the current? If you do, the force of the water will exhaust you, and eventually the debris will be torn from your grip anyway. Instead, simply sit on the cool, polished bank. Watch the flow. Nothing that passes is permanent. Nothing that arrives is yours to keep forever. This awareness cultivates deep, unshakable equanimity. The changing world cannot disturb a mind that has accepted the law of change. Feel the weight of your body settling further into the supportive surface beneath you. The body knows this truth instinctively. When you allow it, it seeks the path of least resistance, the path of rest. The breath is shallowing naturally now, slowing down. Your heart rate is easing its pace. This biological slowdown is your body's agreement with the universe. I surrender to the flow. Allow the muscles of your face to smooth out. Release the micro-expressions of concern or concentration. Imagine the skin across your forehead becoming as smooth and placid as the polished wood we observed earlier, cool and still. We are not aiming for a state of frozen immobility, but a state of dynamic rest, stillness at the heart of the movement. Just as the center of a spinning wheel is perfectly still, the center of your being remains undisturbed, even as the world around you and the thoughts within you rush past. This is the deep relaxation that comes from non-resistance. The mind stops fighting the current. It stops demanding that the clouds stay put. It stops insisting that the leaf remain green. You are simply here, observing the magnificent, ceaseless unfolding of existence, knowing that you, too, are part of this perfect, flowing transformation. Rest in this knowledge. Let the weight of grasping fall away, dissolving like sandalwood smoke in the vast, open air. We have moved past the initial stillness into a profound acceptance, a deep relaxation rooted in the understanding that everything is in motion, and that motion is inherently safe. You are the river, and you are the banks, and you are the consciousness watching the flow. All parts are perfect, all parts are temporary, all parts are free to change. Rest now, in the current of impermanence. Let the mind be carried gently downstream toward deeper, more peaceful rest. The flow is perfect. The flow is safe. Surrender completely to the unfolding scroll of this moment. Part 3. The empty cup and the fullness of now. The path of stillness deepens, leading us now to a quiet courtyard, bathed in the cool, filtered light of early evening. You are settled, resting upon the earth, feeling the profound, unwavering support beneath you. Yet there remains a certain density in the mind, a residue of activity, like silt stirred up in a clear pool. We carry many burdens unconsciously, the weight of unchangeable history and the pressure of an unknowable future. To truly rest, we must first learn the art of surrender, the gentle practice of emptying the vessel. Imagine this courtyard now. Before you stands an ancient stone fountain, not grand or elaborate, but humbly carved from granite that has weathered 1,000 seasons. It is silent, save for one sound, the slow, deliberate work of water. Along the uppermost lip of the basin, where the stone meets the sky, a deep seam has formed. Water gathers here, weeping slowly from the core of the rock itself. The stone is cloaked in a velvet skin of emerald moss, soft and cool to the touch, saturated with moisture. This moss holds the water for a long moment, clinging to the droplets, delaying their release. Observe this tension, the reluctance of the water to yield, the subtle pull of gravity insisting on its flow. We wait, suspended in this slow-motion drama. The air is thick with the scent of damp stone and the faint, sweet perfume of unseen jasmine climbing a nearby wall. Let your breath become as quiet as the air itself, barely disturbing the stillness around you. The first droplet forms, glistening like a tiny, perfect lens reflecting the muted light. It trembles at the edge of the moss, growing heavier, stretching the surface tension. It is a world unto itself, holding the entire sky in its minuscule curve. This droplet is a single thought, a lingering concern from the day, a small worry about an interaction, a minor task left unfinished. Feel how that thought, though small, insists on clinging to the edge of your mind. It demands attention, refusing to drop away. Now, watch the droplet yield. It separates from the moss with a faint, almost imperceptible plink, dissolving instantly into the dark, still water of the basin below. The sound is absorbed, leaving no ripple, no echo, only the return to unbroken silence. This is the sound of surrender. This is the practice of mu, of emptiness. The ancient Zen masters taught the parable of the overflowing cup. A professor, eager to learn about Zen, came to the master Nan-in. Nan-in served tea. He poured the visitor's cup full and then kept pouring. The tea spilled over, running onto the saucer and then onto the mat. The professor cried out, "It is overflowing. No more will go in." Nan-in stopped pouring and replied, "Like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup?" Your mind, too, arrives full of plans, full of memories, full of self-judgment. To receive the deep peace that leads to true rest, we must first empty the cup of the mind. We must allow the clinging droplets to fall and dissolve. Let us watch the fountain again, focusing intensely on the rhythmic, slow pace of the release. Another droplet gathers. This one is heavier, weighted by a should have. I should have handled that differently. I should have been faster, kinder, stronger. This thought is tenacious. It hangs on longer, pulling at the mossy fibers of the mind. Feel the subtle tension this should have creates in your jaw, perhaps tightening the muscles around your eyes. We do not fight the thought. We simply observe its form, its weight, its insistence. We watch it gather mass until it reaches the point of inevitability, and then it detaches. Plink. The sound is soft, muffled by the depth of the water. The regret, the judgment, the past action, it is released. It flows back into the great, undifferentiated pool of existence, no longer a distinct entity in your awareness. Breathe deeply, slowly, allowing the exhale to be the soundless echo of that dissolving drop. As the drop sinks, feel your shoulders sink deeper into the surface supporting you. Let the heaviness of past expectations drain down through your arms, through your hands, and away. The fountain is ceaseless in its work, yet infinitely patient. The interval between drops is long, measured not by clocks, but by the slow saturation of the moss. This interval is the space of pure awareness, the present moment, uncluttered by anticipation or memory. Rest in this space. In the quiet, notice the texture of the stone. It is not smooth, but slightly pitted, bearing the marks of time. The water traces these imperfections, following the lines of least resistance. Just so, your thoughts often trace the same familiar grooves of worry. We are inviting the mind to flow into new channels, channels of quiet acceptance. A third droplet forms. This one is defined by a what if. What if tomorrow brings difficulty? What if I fail to meet the demands? This is the burden of the future, the anxiety of the unknown. It is purely conceptual, a projection of fear onto the blank canvas of time. Yet, it creates a palpable tension in the stomach, a slight constriction in the chest. Observe the fear. Do not judge it. Simply see it as water clinging to the moss. It is seeking to remain attached, to define itself against the vastness of the present moment. The droplet swells. It stretches into a teardrop shape, elongated and fragile. It holds the imagined weight of every possible scenario. Then, the final severance, a slightly heavier thock as it meets the water. The sound is immediately absorbed. The future worry is gone, dissolved into the now. Feel the immediate relief in your body. As the future fear releases, the muscles of your abdomen soften. Your breath deepens, moving lower into the belly, finding a calm, steady rhythm. You are fully present, entirely supported. There is nothing to do, nowhere to go, and no future emergency demanding your immediate attention. The practice of emptying the cup is not about forceful suppression of thoughts. It is about recognizing that every thought, past or future, is merely a drop of water. If you try to hold it, to analyze it, to fight it, you hold the cup full. If you simply allow it to fall, it dissolves, revealing the profound clarity that was always underneath. Imagine the water in the basin now. It is utterly still, deep and dark. It reflects the quiet ceiling of your awareness. When the drops cease to cling, the surface becomes a perfect mirror. This stillness is your natural state. We return to the moss-covered stone. Feel the coolness radiating from it, a deep, earthy temperature that grounds the air. The moss is vibrant, thriving in the dampness, a testament to life existing in the slow flow. Another drop prepares to fall. This time, it represents a judgment of self. I am not meditating well enough. I am too distracted. This is the subtle ego, trying to turn the practice itself into another point of stress. This drop clings with the sticky residue of comparison. Watch it. Do not engage with the judgment. Simply observe its form, its insistence on defining the moment. It detaches. Plink. The sound is almost whispered. The judgment dissolves. When the cup is empty, there is only the sound of the drop falling and the silence that follows. There is only the sensation of the body resting and the breath moving. We are entering a state of profound sensory focus, where the immediate, tactile reality of your physical vessel becomes the anchor. Shift your awareness entirely, inward now, away from the image of the fountain, though the sense of dissolving drops remains a silent, rhythmic undertone. Feel the exact point of contact between your body and the surface beneath you. Notice the weight of your head. It is heavier than you usually realize, a globe of bone and thought resting upon the cushion of your neck. Allow this weight to increase, surrendering its support entirely to the surface below. Let the muscles that usually hold the head upright soften their vigilance. Move your focus to the back of your neck. Feel the vertebrae stacked one upon the other, now gently yielding. Release any tension held there, the subtle clenching that anticipates movement. Let the neck become heavy, warm, and deeply relaxed. The shoulders are next. These are the perpetual holders of burden, the physical manifestation of the full cup. Sense the depth of their weight. Imagine the tension in the trapezoids and deltoids melting, dissolving downward, like water draining away. With every slow exhale, release a layer of tightness from the shoulder blades. They broaden, they relax, they sink. Feel the connection between the empty cup of the mind and the relaxed state of the body. When the mind is not actively planning or regretting, the physical body is allowed to rest. The nervous system quiets its alert status. Allow this profound heaviness to flow down your arms. The upper arms grow warm and dense. The elbows soften. Focus on your hands. They may feel cool or slightly tingly. Let them rest utterly open, palms slightly upward or inward, whichever is more comfortable. Release any grip, any unconscious clench of the fingers. Let the hands become soft, yielding, like petals resting on the air. Now, draw your awareness to your chest and heart space. Beneath the ribs, feel the steady, rhythmic movement of your breath. Do not try to change it, only observe it. Each inhalation is a gentle expansion, a moment of receiving. Each exhalation is a complete release, an emptying. The breath is the ultimate example of the empty cup. When you inhale, you are full. When you exhale, you are empty. You must empty completely to receive fully again. There is no clinging to the previous breath. There is only the present cycle. Follow the breath down into the center of your abdomen, the core of your being. Feel the expansion here, the softening of the muscles of the belly. Let the diaphragm relax entirely, allowing the breath to move with a deep, effortless flow. Imagine that every slow, gentle exhale is another drop falling from the mossy stone, dissolving a residual tension held deep within the body's core. Release the muscles of your lower back. This area often holds the subtle bracing against the world. Let the support beneath you take the entire weight. Feel the spine lengthening slightly, settling into its natural, relaxed curvature. The hips grow heavy, anchored to the earth. The legs, too, are invited into this deep stillness. Feel the heaviness of the thighs, the knees softening, the calves relaxing. Allow the feet to fall naturally outward or inward. Release the tension in the arches and toes. Your entire lower body is now inert, warm, and deeply rooted. The cup of the body is emptying. The mind is quiet, reflecting the darkness and the stillness. Return to the sensation of the face. This is where we hold the most subtle, often unrecognized tensions. Soften your forehead. Release the tiny muscles between the eyebrows, allowing the brow to become smooth and wide. Let the tension drain from the temples. Relax your eyelids. They rest gently over your eyes, dark and still. Allow the eyeballs themselves to settle deeper into their sockets, releasing the subtle strain of visual attention. Finally, the mouth and jaw. This is the last stronghold of mental activity, the place where unspoken words and residual frustrations are often stored. Part your teeth slightly. Let the tongue rest heavy and wide on the floor of your mouth. Release the corners of your lips. Let the jaw hang slack and yielding. You are now entirely surrendered to the present moment. The cup is empty. The mind is clear. There is only the sensation of the body resting, heavy and warm. There is only the soundless rhythm of the breath, rising and falling like a gentle tide. There is only the deep, profound stillness that arises when you are not cluttered by the past or agitated by the future. This emptiness is not a void, it is fullness. It is the fullness of immediate awareness, the richness of the now. In this space, there is no need for effort, no striving, only being. Rest here, in the clarity of the empty cup. Allow the stillness to deepen, sinking you further into the quiet acceptance of this moment. You are safe. You are supported. You are at ease. Let the weight of your consciousness settle, preparing you for the gentle slide toward deeper relaxation and peaceful sleep. Part 4. Listening to the silence between the notes. The stillness deepens, a profound settling that pulls the consciousness down, down, into the rich, warm earth beneath you. The effort of holding yourself together, the subtle muscular tension that accompanies even the most gentle activity, begins now to dissolve entirely. You are becoming soft, yielding, like fine silk draped over a stone. From a great distance, perhaps miles away, carried on the cooling currents of the late evening air, there arrives a sound. It is the sound of the temple gong. It is not a jarring clash, but a slow, intentional wave of deep, resonant bronze. The sound travels patiently, cutting through the layers of ambient quietude, announcing its presence not with haste, but with timeless certainty. Allow this sound to wash over you. It begins in the lowest registers, a profound subterranean hum that seems to vibrate the very center of your chest. Trace the sound as it expands, filling the space around you, a perfect, sustained note that holds the entire universe for a single, suspended moment. It is the sound of being, the sound of the present instant made audible. And then begin the listening to its decay. The initial force of the strike, the immediate, brilliant bloom of resonance, slowly begins its long, gentle recession. The sound does not stop abruptly. It simply chooses to withdraw, pulling back from the edges of your hearing with exquisite slowness. The powerful hum thins, softening its edges, losing its metallic sharpness, transforming into a silky, low thrum that seems to exist just beneath the threshold of hearing. It is a memory of sound, still present, still vibrating, but requiring a deeper, more attentive ear to perceive. Follow it down, 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 into the absolute vanishing point. The thrum becomes a whisper. The whisper becomes a subtle pressure against the eardrums, and then, finally, there is only the silence it leaves behind. This silence is not empty. It is not a void. It is the rich, heavy, echoing space that has been purified by the sound. It is the silence that knows the sound, the space that gives the sound its meaning. In this profound quiet, the mind discovers its own capacity for stillness. It is the realization that the note itself, however beautiful or powerful, is only defined by the pause that surrounds it. The pause before the strike and the pause after the echo has fully dissolved. We often mistake action for movement and effort for efficacy. But the greatest movements in existence, the shifting of tides, the turning of the seasons, the silent growth of the seed into the tree, all occur with a profound sense of non-doing, or wu-wei. You are invited now to practice this art of non-doing. You do not need to push your breath. Let it breathe itself. You do not need to force your thoughts into quietude. Let them drift and dissolve on their own accord. Your only task is to watch the silence, to inhabit the space between the notes. Feel the deep settling of your body. The muscles of your back, which have held you upright through the demands of the day, now recognize their freedom to surrender. Allow the weight of your shoulders to increase, doubling, tripling, as they sink further away from your ears. The collarbones widen, the chest softens, and the entire torso releases its habitual brace. The weight of your arms is profound. Feel the warmth of the air resting upon the skin of your forearms and hands. The air itself seems to have settled, becoming a palpable, soft blanket. It is not moving, it is simply present. This stillness in the air mirrors the stillness you cultivate internally. There is no frantic rush, no need to stir or manipulate. Everything simply is. Imagine the great wheelwright crafting a perfect wooden wheel. He spends countless hours shaping the spokes, sanding the rim, ensuring every piece is strong and true. But the utility of the wheel, its function, its entire purpose, resides not in the spokes, the rim, but in the empty space at the very center, the hub. If the hub were solid, the wheel could not turn. The usefulness of the wheel is found in its emptiness. Allow your mind to become that empty hub. Let the thoughts, the spokes, spin rapidly around the periphery if they must. But draw your awareness into the center, the quiet, open space that remains untouched by the movement. This stillness is the source of all functional rest. Notice the pause in your breath. The in-breath arrives, full and complete, a slow rise in the belly and chest. The out-breath follows, long and gentle, releasing all tension and stale air. And then, for a brief, effortless moment, there is nothing. A perfect, unforced pause. This is the silence between the notes of your own vitality. Do not try to extend this pause. Do not try to control it. Simply watch it arrive and dissolve. It is a moment of pure neutrality, a microsecond of perfect rest before the flow naturally turns and the next breath begins to draw itself in. This pause is Wu Wei in action, the breath acting without effort, simply following the inherent flow of life. The surrender is becoming deeper now. The lower body, often holding residual tension from walking or standing, is releasing its grip. Feel the heaviness of your hips sinking deeply into the surface beneath you. The weight is comforting, an anchor in the present moment. The knees are soft, the ankles are loose, and the very tips of your toes feel heavy and inert, completely still. Trace the line of warmth and heaviness from your lower back, spreading outward like warm honey. This warmth is the sensation of energy ceasing its outward effort and turning inward, pooling in the core, fueling the deep relaxation required for restoration. In this deep, settled quiet, the small, persistent anxieties of the day begin to sound hollow and thin. They are like dry leaves skittering across a vast marble floor. You hear them, but they cannot hold your attention for long, for the silence is too rich, too compelling. Consider the Zen story of the empty boat. A monk is meditating on a river, and another boat, untethered and empty, drifts down the current and bumps sharply into his own. The monk, momentarily startled, feels a surge of anger. But then, he realizes the boat is empty. There is no one to blame, no intentional malice, no driver to argue with. The anger immediately dissolves, for it has nowhere to land. Your thoughts are often like that empty boat. They arrive unbidden, sometimes bumping harshly into your peace. But if you recognize them as merely empty projections, floating on the current of the mind, without a permanent captain or fixed destination, you realize there is no one to fight, no battle to win. You simply allow the empty boat to drift past, returning your attention to the vast, quiet river itself. The silence between the notes is the recognition that you are not the thought. You are the space in which the thought arises and dissolves. You are not the sound. You are the stillness that allows the sound to be heard. Let your jaw become immensely heavy, the muscles around the hinges of the jaw hold incredible unconscious tension throughout the day, a subtle clenching against worry or effort. Allow the teeth to separate slightly. The tongue, a powerful muscle, rests heavy and wide in the floor of the mouth, completely inert. Feel the weight of the cheeks, the softness around the eyes. The eyes themselves, even closed, can hold tension. Allow the gaze to become soft, unfocused, directed inward toward the dark, restful space behind the eyelids. Let the muscles surrounding the eyes relax so completely that they feel as if they are melting, dissolving into the sockets. This is the profound utility of silence. It is not the absence of activity, but the presence of potential. It is the fertile soil from which true, effortless action springs. When the mind is allowed to rest deeply in this non-doing, the body's own innate wisdom takes over. Healing accelerates, tension unravels, the system recalibrates itself perfectly without conscious instruction. Listen again for the faintest sound, perhaps the rustle of a distant leaf or the subtle shift of the house settling around you. Trace the sound to its source, acknowledge its presence, and then listen again for the silence that enfolds it. Every sound is merely a temporary punctuation mark in the endless sentence of quietude. We are often taught to fill the quiet, to rush from one task to the next, from one thought to the next, fearing the void. But the Zen master knows that the void is the source of all creativity, the necessary rest before the next great expression. Sink deeper now into the surface supporting you. Imagine that surface is perfectly molded to the contours of your body, supporting every curve and angle with absolute precision. There is no part of you that needs to hold itself up, no part that is unsupported. You are held entirely. The feeling of relaxation is now moving beyond mere comfort. It is becoming a deep, physiological surrender. The very density of your bones seems to increase, pulling you down with a gentle, irresistible force. You are becoming a part of the quietude, an extension of the deep, restful earth. If a thought arrives now, do not engage. Simply observe its shape, its texture, and notice the inevitable gap that appears after it passes. That gap, that moment of empty clarity, is your refuge. Return to it always, effortlessly, without judgment. The breath continues its slow, rhythmic cycle, a quiet, internal tide. Each inhale draws peace inward. Each exhale releases the last vestiges of resistance. The breath is the sound, and the pause is the silence. You are resting entirely in the space between. Allow the warmth to spread throughout your limbs, a gentle, soothing heat that indicates the complete softening of the fascia and the profound release of muscular effort. Your entire form is heavy, soft, and still. There is nothing left to do, nowhere left to go, nothing to fix or change. You are simply resting in the flow of existence, trusting the current, embodying the stillness of the uncarved block. This deep rest, this non-doing, is the most powerful action you can take right now. It is the perfect preparation for the deep, restorative sleep that awaits you. Breathe in the silence. Breathe out the last subtle effort. Settle, soften, rest. Part 5. The Willow's Lesson. Bending, not breaking. The stillness that held us now begins to move, not with violence, but with a profound, gentle persuasion. A soft, cool breath of air, laden with the moisture of impending rain, drifts across the skin. It carries the scent of dark earth and ancient moss, a grounding fragrance that pulls the mind down from the heights of worry and anchors it to the moment unfolding here, now. We are drawn toward a quiet pool of water, reflecting the muted grey sky. Beside this pool stands the teacher of this hour, a weeping willow. Its presence is not one of imposing strength, but of exquisite, yielding grace. It is a portrait of surrender, painted in shades of pale green and silver. Observe the willow. It is receiving the world exactly as the world arrives. The wind begins to stir, not a harsh gale, but a steady, insistent pressure, pressing softly against the crown of the tree. Watch how the hundreds of slender, trailing branches respond. They do not resist. There is no tension in their fiber, no straining against the force that pushes them. Instead, they simply yield. They bend, they sway, they flow. They become liquid architecture in the air. Imagine the movement of a single strand, 30 feet long, descending from the crown. As the wind flows past, that strand lifts, curves, and then dips again, describing a perfect, seamless arc through the space around it. The movement is fluid, effortless, and utterly without friction. It is the visual manifestation of non-resistance. The branch is not broken because it never attempted to be unbreakable. It is soft, and in its softness, it finds its true, enduring strength. Listen closely to the sound of this yielding. It is not the harsh, tearing rattle of dry leaves fighting the gust. It is a deep, whispering shh, the sound of countless thin leaves brushing against each other in a soft, continuous sigh. It is the sound of acceptance. This gentle rustling wraps around the listener, creating an auditory cocoon where effort is irrelevant and struggle is obsolete. Now, the rain begins. It is not a sudden downpour, but a fine, steady drizzle, a moisture-laden mist that deepens the colors of the world. The drops are small, perfect spheres that land silently upon the willow's long, trailing leaves. Watch them gather. They trace the veins of the leaf, coalesce into larger, heavier droplets, and then glide down the length of the branch itself. Branch acts as a natural conduit, guiding the water from the sky down to the earth from which it came. There is no attempt to hold on to the water, there is only the slow, graceful act of transmission. The surface of the bark, dark and furrowed near the trunk, becomes slick and glistening, reflecting the faint, diffused light of the overcast sky. The water runs in slow, continuous streams, creating tiny, musical trickles as it finds its way to the mossy roots. Inhale deeply, drawing in the rich, heavy perfume of this rain-soaked scene. It is the scent of petrichor, blended with damp wood and the mineral tang of the earth. This smell grounds the mind, pulling awareness away from abstract worries and settling it firmly into the physical reality of this present moment. A moment of cool air, soft rain, and profound natural peace. Contrast this yielding willow with the old, mighty oak that stands far back in the mind's landscape. The oak is magnificent, rigid, and deeply rooted. When the storm comes, the oak attempts to stand firm, to defy the wind, to hold its massive branches in place. It is a posture of magnificent resistance. But sometimes, when the wind is too fierce, when the internal pressure is too great, the rigid branch cracks. The inflexible structure, attempting to dominate the flow, is ultimately vulnerable to fracture. The willow teaches us a different path. It teaches the strength of flexibility. It demonstrates that true power lies not in standing against the flow of existence, but in becoming one with it. If the wind is sorrow, the willow bends. If the rain is joy, the willow absorbs. If the storm is change, the willow simply adjusts its shape until the storm passes. Let the consciousness now follow the path of the water down the willow's branch. Imagine that your own internal landscape holds points of rigidity. The expectations you cling to, the fears you try to hold back, the past moments you refuse to relinquish. These are the stiff, oak-like branches within you. Now, mentally invite the willow's lesson into those places of tension. Focus on the shoulders. If they are held high and tight, imagine them transforming into the willow's supple limbs. Feel the subtle internal shift as the muscles soften, releasing their grip on responsibility and worry. Allow the shoulders to droop slightly, to yield to gravity, to surrender their fixed position. Let the weight flow down, out, and away. Move this softening attention to the jaw, which so often clenches in silent resistance to life's demands. Feel the muscles around the hinge of the jaw relax. The teeth part infinitesimally. The tension that holds unspoken words and contained frustrations melts away, running like water down the smooth, wet bark of the willow. The face becomes soft, open, and receptive. The willow's surrender is not weakness, it is efficiency. It uses no energy fighting what is. It expends its power solely on being present and adapting. As the rain continues its gentle, persistent rhythm, the sound becomes a lullaby for the nervous system. Tap, tap, tap on the broad leaves. Hush, 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 as the air whispers through the silver-green strands. This auditory environment is designed to dissolve the sharp edges of thought. The sounds are repetitive, natural, and non-threatening. They invite the mind to cease analysis and simply absorb the sensation. Focus on the movement of the branches once more. They are moving slowly, hypnotically, a pendulum of peace. Imagine the breath mirroring this movement. Inhale and feel the central core of your body standing tall, like the willow's trunk, rooted and stable. Exhale and feel the limbs, the arms, the legs, the neck, flowing outward, softening, yielding, like the trailing branches. Release any resistance held in the chest, allowing the breath to deepen naturally, without force or effort. The chest, like the willow, simply receives the air and then releases it back to the atmosphere. The air around the willow is cool, clean, and saturated with moisture. This deep saturation implies completion. The earth is full, the leaves are wet, the flow is established. There is nothing left to strive for, nothing left to achieve in this moment. There is only the perfect unfolding reality of rain and silence. Allow the consciousness to become absorbed entirely by the sensory details of this scene. The silvery gleam on the wet leaves, the steady, earth-rich scent rising from the saturated soil, the sound of water running in a continuous downward stream. Everything is moving toward the lowest point, toward rest, toward grounding. This is the central teaching of surrender. To stop struggling against the reality of the present, to acknowledge the wind, to accept the rain, and to adjust your internal posture accordingly. The willow does not ask the storm to cease, it simply adjusts its form until the storm has passed, preserving its integrity through flexibility. Mentally picture the most stubborn, rigid belief you hold about yourself or your circumstances. See it as a stiff, dry branch on the inner oak tree. Now, visualize the gentle rain of acceptance beginning to fall upon that branch. Feel the tension in that belief softening, becoming pliable, allowing it to bend slightly under the weight of present reality. It does not need to break, but it must learn to curve. The softness of the willow is a profound rest. It is a rest from the constant, exhausting effort of control. When we surrender to the flow, we are not giving up. We are simply recognizing that the river of existence is far stronger and wiser than our individual paddle. We set the paddle down and allow ourselves to be carried. Feel the profound weightlessness that comes with this realization. The responsibility for controlling the external world is lifted. All that remains is the simple, gentle task of breathing and yielding. The rain sound begins to modulate now, becoming even softer, distant, continuous drone. It is the sound of the world settling down, preparing for deep rest. The light fades further, bathing the willow in a uniform, comforting darkness, broken only by the shimmering reflection of water on the leaves. We remain here, beneath the canopy of the yielding willow, inhaling the scent of surrender and listening to the music of acceptance. Every sound, the slow drip, the soft rustle, the distant murmur of the pool, confirms that all is well, all is flowing, and nothing is fixed. Allow the body to become as heavy and soft as the earth beneath the willow's roots. Sink deeper into the surface supporting you, releasing the final vestiges of muscular tension. The mind is now flowing smoothly, like the water down the bark, effortlessly moving toward stillness. Rest in the knowledge that you are strong, not because you resist, but because you are capable of bending. You are whole, not because you are fixed, but because you are endlessly adaptable. The willow has given its lesson. It is time now to let the lesson seep into the very core of your being, dissolving all resistance, guiding you toward the deepest, most peaceful surrender. Drift, flow, and rest. Part 6. The pathless path and the uncarved block. Let the weight of the previous moments settle fully, dissolving into the surface beneath you. Feel the subtle shift in the air around your skin, perhaps a fraction cooler, perhaps a fraction softer. We rest now in the deep valley of acceptance, where the river of striving has slowed to a mirror-like pool. Draw a breath that is long and full, a deep, silent intake that requires no force, only permission. As you exhale, imagine the breath leaving your body not as a rush of air, but as a slow, visible mist dissipating into the vast, still atmosphere of this inner sanctuary. With each outward release, feel the muscles of your neck soften, the jaw unclench, and the tongue rest heavy and wide in the floor of the mouth. We turn our attention now to the concept of pu, the uncarved block. This is the state of natural simplicity, the inherent goodness that existed before the first attempt to shape, label, or define. It is the raw, pure substance of your being, untouched by the chisels of expectation or the varnish of ambition. Imagine you are holding in your hands a piece of natural stone, pulled recently from the cold earth or a mountain stream. It is utterly simple. It has no edges designed by human intention. Its contours are the result of geological time and the gentle abrasion of water. Bring your entire awareness to the texture of this stone. It is cool, not icy, but profoundly, fundamentally cool, carrying the temperature of the subterranean world. Feel this coolness seep into the palms of your hands, spreading slowly across the skin. Notice how the temperature contrast is immediate, yet the chill is not sharp. It is grounding. This coolness travels inward, moving past the surface layer of the epidermis, sinking into the muscle fibers just beneath. It is a deep, anchoring coolness that quiets the nervous energy held in the fascia and tendons. The stone is heavy. Feel the honest, undeniable weight of it resting in your open hands. This weight is not a burden. It is a profound affirmation of reality. It requires no effort to hold it down. Gravity does the work. Allow your hands, your wrists, and your forearms to simply surrender to this truth of gravity. Let the weight of the stone anchor you further into the present moment, releasing any need to float or fly away from where you are. Run your thumb across its surface. The texture is not smooth like glass, nor is it sharp. It is rough, yet worn. You can feel the microscopic ridges, the tiny, almost invisible flecks of mica or quartz embedded within the grey matrix. These imperfections are not flaws. They are the record of its effortless existence. It has never strived to be polished. It simply is, in its raw, magnificent totality. Allow the stone's simplicity to become your own simplicity. You too are an uncarved block. Before the world told you who you should be, before you attempted to shape yourself into a pleasing or successful form, you possessed this inherent wholeness. There was a time when your only task was to exist, like the stone resting in the stream bed. The mind, conditioned by years of striving, often believes that peace must be achieved, that enlightenment must be earned through complex intellectual paths or rigorous self-improvement. But the path of the uncarved block is the pathless path. It is the realization that the destination is already here, contained within the raw material of the present moment. Imagine a small stream winding down a steep slope. The water does not consult a map. It does not exert effort to choose the most efficient route. It follows the path of least resistance. It flows around the large boulders, settles into the hollows, and accelerates through the narrow passes, entirely surrendered to the pull of gravity and the contours of the earth. It is effortless, and because it is effortless, it is perfect. This is the pathless path. It is not about doing the right thing, but about allowing the right action to arise naturally from your unconditioned self. It is the wisdom of the water, to be soft, yielding, and perpetually finding the way forward without force. Let your thoughts, should they arise, be treated like the pebbles in the stream. The water does not fight them. It flows around them, incorporating them into the overall movement without being halted. Your awareness remains the flow, steady and unimpeded, moving toward the great ocean of stillness. Feel the deep, cool weight of the stone in your hands once more. Let the density of it calm the lightness of any lingering worry. The stone is silent. Its silence is not empty, but full of the memory of mountains, the pressure of deep earth, and the patience of millennia. Sink into this silent density. Now, we shift our sensory focus to the purity of water. Imagine you are drawing water directly from a natural spring, bubbling up from the hidden depths of the earth. The water is utterly clean, filtered by layers of sand and rock, holding the simple, cool essence of the source. Bring this pure water to your lips. Notice the temperature. It is refreshingly cool, carrying that same deep, subterranean coolness as the stone, yet it is fluid and yielding. There is no flavor added. It is not sweetened, nor is it chemically treated. It is simply wet. It is the taste of pure hydration, the taste of elemental simplicity. As you sip this imagined water, feel it move slowly down your throat. Notice the smooth, clean sensation as it travels, washing away any lingering dryness or tension. This water is absorbed effortlessly by your body, instantly recognized as essential and vital. Feel the water reaching your cells, hydrating the deepest tissues. This is the feeling of the uncarved block being nourished, simply, completely, without alteration. We often seek complex forms of nourishment, complicated plans, elaborate spiritual doctrines. But the fundamental truth, like the taste of pure water, is simple and undeniable. This simple, clean taste reminds you that your innate wisdom is just as pure. You do not need to add flavorings or spices to yourself. You do not need to complicate your existence with endless striving for external validation. The water simply is water, and you simply are you. Allow the purity of the water to cleanse the mind's palate. Let go of the complex mental recipes you have developed for happiness or success. These are unnecessary seasonings applied to an already perfect dish. Trust the simple, clean clarity that remains when all the effort is washed away. The coolness of the stone anchors your body. The purity of the water refreshes your mind. The two sensations merge into a single feeling of deep, untroubled acceptance. In this state, there is no need to plan the next step. There is no need to anticipate the future. The pathless path unfolds naturally, moment by moment, like the stream finding its way. You simply exist, resting in the wisdom of the uncarved block. Let the image of the stone soften now, dissolving its edges. Let the sensation of the cool, pure water spread throughout your entire being, a wave of liquid peace. Your body is heavy and settled, yet internally you feel fluid and free. Breathe. Inhale the stillness. Exhale the need to be anything other than what you are right now. The breath continues this effortless flow. It is the simplest action, the most immediate proof of your existence. Yet we often try to control it, to improve it, to make it conform to some ideal. Now, release the breath to its own perfect rhythm. Allow it to be shallow or deep, fast or slow. Trust its innate wisdom. It knows exactly how much air is needed, exactly when the exchange must occur. Feel the slight expansion and contraction in your lower abdomen, a gentle, rocking motion that is the very definition of flow. This internal movement is the physical manifestation of the pathless path, a continuous, effortless unfolding. We often imagine that surrender means giving up, but in Zen, surrender means trusting the inherent design. The stone surrenders to gravity, the water surrenders to the earth's contours, The mind surrenders to the present moment. This surrender is not weakness, it is the ultimate strength, the acceptance of reality as it is, without resistance. Allow the feeling of the uncarved block, raw, cool, heavy, and simple, to permeate your consciousness. There is nothing left to achieve in this moment. There is no task remaining but to rest in this profound state of being. The stillness deepens. The quiet is vast and embracing. If a sound intrudes from the world outside, a distant voice, the hum of machinery, the creak of the house, treat it like a ripple on the surface of the pure water. It appears, it travels, and it disappears, leaving the depth of the water undisturbed. Your mind is becoming like the deep water, capable of reflecting the sky and the clouds, but remaining untouched by them. You are recognizing the fundamental simplicity that underlies all complexity. Feel the tension draining entirely from your face. The space between the eyebrows is wide and soft. The eyelids rest gently, heavy and still. The muscles around the ears, which often hold residual tension from listening or worrying, release their grip. Sink further into the surface beneath you. The cool, anchoring weight of the stone seems to be pressing you gently downward, confirming your stability. You are not floating away. You are deeply rooted, profoundly present. The breath is now so subtle it is almost imperceptible, a faint whisper at the edge of awareness. Let even the effort of noticing the breath dissipate. Simply allow the body to breathe itself. You are the uncarved block, whole and perfect in your raw state. You are the pathless path, flowing effortlessly toward the source. There is no striving, no complexity, no need for definition. Rest now in this simplicity. Trust the quiet wisdom of your own innate nature. There is nothing to fix, nothing to improve. The coolness of the deep earth holds you. The clarity of the pure water cleanses you. Every cell in your body is relaxing, softening, letting go of the need to hold, control, or resist. We are drifting now, gently moving from the deep valley of stillness into the vast, open ocean of sleep. The boundaries between your body and the space around you become indistinct. You are merging with the quiet, becoming the stillness itself. Let the last conscious thought be one of profound gratitude for this simplicity, for the truth that you are already enough. Drift. Surrender. Rest in the pathless perfection of the uncarved block. Deep rest awaits. Let go. Fall into the quiet. Part 7. Floating on the great stream of consciousness. We turn now from the observation of the breath to a deeper, more profound surrender. Allow the weight of the physical form, which you have carried so diligently throughout the day, to soften. Imagine the boundaries of your skin becoming less rigid, the density of bone turning porous, like aged wood saturated with rainwater. You are preparing to step, or perhaps to simply be received, by the great stream. Visualize the body not as a fixed, heavy anchor, but as a perfectly crafted vessel, a small, smooth canoe carved from the lightest, most resilient cedar. This vessel holds the gentle core of your being, and it is ready now to be launched onto a river of infinite calm. This is not a river of rushing currents or sharp, angular stones, but the deep, wide, slow-moving river of existence itself, the very current of consciousness that flows beneath all waking thought. Feel the subtle, almost imperceptible tilt as your vessel is lowered onto the water's surface. There is no splash, only a seamless joining. The surface tension of the water, vast and supportive, meets the smooth curve of your vessel's base. For the first time, you are asked to do nothing. You are asked only to be held. The initial sensation is one of absolute buoyancy. That heavy, clinging sense of gravity that usually pulls at your shoulders and hips dissolves instantly. You are weightless. Your vessel is perfectly balanced, requiring no effort, no steering, no adjustment from the occupant within. The water beneath you is not cold, nor is it warm. It is the perfect, neutral temperature of profound acceptance. It is the temperature of timelessness. Allow this feeling of effortless support to penetrate every muscle fiber. The water cradles the longest length of your spine, smoothing out any habitual tensions held there. The water presses gently, yet firmly, against the outer curve of your hips, ensuring that they are fully suspended. Your shoulders, which often rise instinctively, trying to carry the worries of the future, are now allowed to melt, sinking into the soft, yielding support of the liquid element beneath. The river itself is broad beyond measure. When you look to the sides, you cannot see the banks. They are too far away, veiled in a soft silver mist. This stream is not contained by Earth, but by the very space of the universe. It is the flow of cosmic energy, the Tao, the unending Dharma. And you, in your small, perfectly supported vessel, are now one with its motion. The rhythm of the cradle. The movement of the great stream is mesmerizingly slow. It is the rhythm of deep breathing, stretched across hours and eons. It offers a gentle, eternal rocking motion. Feel this subtle shift now. Your vessel is not static. It moves with an exquisite, predictable grace. It is lifted, almost imperceptibly, on a long, slow swell, a liquid sigh of the universe. As the vessel rises, your body feels lighter still, a temporary suspension in the air itself before the water accepts you again, lowering you down into the soft, liquid valley of the next wave. Lift. The rise is slow, measured, gentle. Every point of contact with the vessel's interior is affirmed and sustained. There is no suddenness, no jarring movement. Descent. The return is equally languid, a settling back into the cradle, a soft, reassuring pressure beneath the small of your back. This rhythm is the heartbeat of the stream, and it begins to synchronize with your own inner pulse. Your physical heart, which has perhaps been beating a hurried rhythm of anxiety or anticipation, now begins to yield to the immense slowness of the river. Lub-dub, lift. Lub-dub, settle. The two pulses merge until they are indistinguishable, the life within you flowing in harmony with the life without. Focus entirely on the sensation of this rocking. It is repetitive, predictable, and deeply soothing. It erases the need for vigilance. There is nothing to hold on to, nothing to brace against. The universe itself is providing the momentum, and the universe is perfectly trustworthy. Imagine the gentle friction of the water against the outer shell of your vessel. It is not rough, it is a soft, continuous hush. If you listen closely, you can hear the water murmuring its ancient song. It is a sound without sharp edges, a liquid drone that acts as a profound filter, muffling the distant sounds of the world and emphasizing the immediate, enclosed silence of your floating sanctuary. It is the sound of everything being exactly as it should be. As you float, look up. The water is so clear yet so vast that the light filtering down from the surface is utterly transformed. It is not the harsh, direct glare of the sun, but a soft, ethereal diffusion, an underwater sunlight that washes everything in shades of opalescent blue and liquid gold. This light is utterly non-judgmental. It simply is. It flows over the edges of your vessel, sinking into the deep water all around you. It illuminates the water's depths in a way that suggests boundless space, yet absolute containment. You are floating in a giant, luminous, protective bubble. Trace the movement of this diffused light upon the inner walls of your vessel. As the water ripples far above, the light patterns dance. Slow, wavy, elastic shapes of luminescence slide across your field of vision. They are like silent, liquid shadows, moving without urgency, without purpose, simply reflecting the effortless flow above. Allow your eyes, even your inner eye, to soften completely as you watch this light. It asks nothing of you. You do not need to analyze its source or its direction or its speed. You simply absorb its calming hue. This blue-gold light washes over your face, smoothing away the subtle tension held around the eyes and the jaw. It is a light that heals, not by intensity, but by pervasive gentleness. Feel the light. Penetrate the vessel and touch your skin. It is not a physical warmth, but a deep, emotional radiance, a sense of being seen and accepted by the vastness of the stream. Every cell in your body, bathed in this aqueous light, begins to release its grip. The small anxieties held in the chest, the tightness in the forehead, they are all dissolved by this encompassing, liquid glow. The rhythm of the rocking continues, slow and certain. The light continues to dance, soft and wavy. You are suspended between the infinite surface above and the boundless depth below, held in perfect equilibrium. Thoughts as rising bubbles. Even in this perfect stillness, the mind remains active. The process of surrender is not the process of stopping thought, but the process of changing your relationship to thought. As you float effortlessly on the great stream of consciousness, observe the thoughts that arise within the vessel. They might be memories, worries about tomorrow, fragments of conversation, or sudden, unrelated images. In this visualization, these thoughts are not anchors meant to drag you down, nor are they steering mechanisms demanding attention. They are simply bubbles of air rising from the floor of the vessel. See a thought now, perhaps a small, circular worry about a pending task. As it forms, observe it. Do not grasp it. Do not judge it. Simply watch it detach from the floor of the vessel and begin its slow, vertical ascent through the water. It is a perfect, iridescent sphere, catching the diffused blue-gold light. It shimmers slightly as it rises, carrying a specific piece of mental energy. You watch it move. It is entirely separate from you. You are the peaceful observer floating on the surface. You are not the bubble itself. The bubble continues its upward journey, slowing slightly as it nears the surface tension, that thin, shimmering veil that separates the water world from the air. And then, with a delicate pop, the bubble meets the surface and vanishes. The energy it contained is released harmlessly into the vast expanse of the stream, dissolving into the atmosphere, leaving no trace, no residue, no ripple that disturbs the gentle rocking of your vessel. Another thought arises, perhaps a fleeting image of the past, a moment of regret or satisfaction. Watch this new bubble form. It might be larger or smaller or a slightly different color. It doesn't matter. Its nature is the same. Temporary effervescence. Watch it ascend. Slowly, surely, it moves toward the light. It shimmers. It releases. Pop. Gone. This is the practice of non-attachment in the flow. The mind will continue to generate bubbles, just as the water continues its flow. Your task is simply to rest in the vessel, observing their transient beauty, and allowing the flow to carry them away without resistance. Each bubble that pops reinforces the safety and resilience of your vessel. You remain perfectly dry, perfectly safe, perfectly supported. There is no need to chase the bubbles. There is no need to push them away. Simply let the stream's flow, which is the flow of life itself, draw them upward and away. Every rising bubble is an opportunity to practice letting go, to reaffirm your surrender to the current. Settle deeper now into the feeling of the vessel, which is your body, being held completely. The great stream is an inexhaustible source of support. It is gravity reversed, the force that lifts rather than pulls down. Feel the deep relaxation spreading through your lower body. The hips, released from the effort of standing or sitting upright, are heavy and perfectly passive. The muscles of the thighs and calves soften, elongating, surrendering to the sensation of weightlessness. They are simply resting, floating. The core of your body, the abdomen and the chest, is utterly still. The anxiety that often lodges itself here, a tight knot of anticipating the next moment, unwinds completely. The rocking motion is so gentle, so continuous, that it lulls the internal organs into a state of profound rest. Your breath, which has been the anchor, now becomes simply another aspect of the flow. It is deep, slow, and effortless. The vessel breathes with the river. Inhale, the long, slow swell lifts you slightly. Exhale, the gentle settling back into the cradle. The surrender is complete. You are not rowing, you are not steering, you are not planning the destination. The stream knows where it is going. The stream is the destination. In this state of perfect trust, the mind begins to slow its production of bubbles. The immense, soothing power of the water begins to absorb the mental chatter. The space between the bubbles widens, becoming vast and silent, filled only with the soft blue-gold light. You realize that this current is not external to you. It is the very essence of your own being, the deep, quiet space of consciousness that exists beneath the surface turmoil of daily life. You are floating on yourself. You are supported by yourself. Let the final vestiges of muscular tension drain away. Focus on the very tips of your fingers and toes. Allow them to feel heavy and yet completely buoyant. They are tingling softly, releasing the last tiny points of resistance. The vessel is moving now at its most profound, peaceful speed. It is a movement that feels almost like stillness, yet you know you are carried forward, effortlessly, toward a state of deeper rest. You are safe. You are held. You are weightless. The water murmurs its reassurance. The light envelops you in its gentle acceptance. The rhythm of the rocking guarantees your security. Sink deeper into the soft cedar of your vessel. Allow the deep, liquid silence to fill every space that was previously occupied by noise or worry. There is only the flow. There is only the support. There is only the deep, continuous, nourishing current of the great stream of consciousness, carrying you entirely, safely, toward the quiet harbors of true, restorative sleep. Rest now, completely immersed in the flow. Part 8. The Mirror Mind, Reflecting Without Judgment. The journey inward has led us to a shore of profound quietude. The turbulence of striving, the effort of seeking, has finally subsided. Here, in the deep embrace of the night, we arrive at the practice of the mirror mind. You are resting now, settled deeply into the surface upon which you lie, feeling its unwavering support. The air around you is cool and silent, carrying only the faintest, most ancient music of the earth. Listen closely for that sound, the steady, distant rhythm that permeates the vast silence, the endless, hypnotic chorus of the crickets. Chirp, 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 chirp. This sound is not a distraction, it is the pulse of the moment, marking the passage of time without demanding attention. It is steady, predictable, a sonic anchor in the sea of stillness. Let the sound wash over you, recognizing that it arises, persists, and fades, all without any effort from you, and all without disturbing the profound peace you have cultivated. Imagine now before you the surface of a vast, still lake, the Obsidian Lake. This water is impossibly calm, a sheet of liquid glass reflecting the entire endless sky above it. It is the perfect, flawless mirror mind. Observe this lake. Notice its absolute neutrality. It does not choose what it reflects. If a brilliant, dazzling moon drifts overhead, the lake receives it wholly, completely, without trying to capture or possess its light. If a dark, heavy storm cloud blots out the stars, the lake receives that darkness just as perfectly, without judgment, without resistance, and without sorrow. The lake simply is reflection. It has no opinion on the beauty of the moon or the gloom of the cloud. It is equanimous. It offers its surface entirely to whatever comes, and when the image passes, the surface immediately returns to its pristine, unblemished stillness. There is no stain left behind by the muddiest cloud, and no residue left by the brightest light. This is the state we now cultivate within ourselves. Your mind, at this moment, is becoming this obsidian lake. It is vast, deep, and utterly still. Now, gently turn your awareness inward, toward the subtle movements that still ripple across your inner surface, the remaining thoughts, the lingering feelings, the faint whispers of memory or planning. These are the clouds drifting across your sky. When a thought arises, do not lean toward it. Do not engage it in conversation. Do not analyze its origin or its destination. Simply allow your vast, calm inner surface to reflect it. See the thought appear, perhaps a fleeting memory of the day, a small worry about tomorrow, or even a judgment about the present moment of rest. Observe the image of the thought clearly, noting its shape, its color, its movement. Is it fast, like a wisp of smoke? Is it heavy, like a dense, slow-moving mass? Hold your gaze upon it, not with curiosity, but with the cool, detached clarity of the lake. The lake does not ask, "Why are you here, cloud?" It simply reflects the cloud's existence. You are practicing non-attachment to the reflected image. Feel the profound relief that comes with this practice. You do not have to solve the reflected problem. You do not have to chase the reflected joy. You do not have to argue with the reflected worry. You are only the mirror. And as you watch, without grasping, the thought, the cloud, begins its inevitable drift. It moves slowly, surely, across the expanse of your inner sky, and then, without fanfare, it reaches the far edge of your awareness and dissolves back into the boundless space from which it arose. And what remains? Only the perfect, pristine stillness of the water. Only the vast, open silence. Rest in this space between the reflections. This is the true nature of your awareness, unconditioned, untouched, utterly pure. Let us deepen the sensory experience of this stillness. Focus on the coolness of the air rising from the imaginary lake. It is a purifying coolness, settling over your skin like a fine mist, carrying away any residual heat of agitation. Feel the smoothness of the surface beneath you, the sensation of being perfectly supported by this enormous, patient body of water. Listen again to the crickets. The sound is now fainter, further away, weaving itself into the fabric of your deep relaxation. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Each sound is a tiny, perfect event, appearing and disappearing, leaving the silence richer for its brief presence. Imagine that the cricket's sound is reflected on the lake's surface, just like the stars. The reflection of the sound is not a sound itself, but a silent ripple of knowing. You know the sound is there, but you are not disturbed by it. Now, let us test the strength of the mirror mind with stronger reflections. Perhaps a feeling arises, a sudden, hot flash of irritation, or a deep, cold wave of sadness. Do not recoil from it. Allow it to approach your inner surface. A feeling is simply a larger, more intense cloud. If irritation comes, reflect the irritation perfectly. See its color, its intensity, the way it tries to stir the water. Do not say, "I am irritated," or "I should not feel this." Simply observe the reflection. Irritation is present. Because you are not grasping it, because you are not judging it, the irritation has no fuel. It cannot hold on to the surface. It is received and immediately begins to dissipate, like a drop of ink spreading and vanishing in a vast, clear pool. If joy or elation arises, a sudden memory of laughter, a wave of profound contentment, reflect it equally. Do not cling to the joy, hoping to make it permanent. Do not say, "This is good, I must keep this." The lake reflects the sunlight without demanding that the sun remain. It knows that the sun will set, and the mirror will be ready for the moon. reflect the joy, appreciate its passing beauty, and allow it to drift onward. This practice of equanimity, treating all reflections, pleasant or unpleasant, with equal detachment and acceptance, is the key to stabilizing your peace. You are building an unshakable inner foundation that cannot be disturbed by the ebb and flow of life's phenomena. Feel the profound stability this brings. Your mind is no longer a battlefield where you must constantly fight to keep the bad out and hold the good in. It is simply a vast, receptive space. Sink deeper into the support beneath you, letting your body become heavy, anchored, and utterly at rest. The surface of the lake is cool and smooth against your entire being. Imagine dipping your hand into this clear, cool water. The surface is so exquisitely polished that there is no resistance, only a fluid acceptance. The water wraps around your fingers, adapting instantly to your shape, and when you withdraw your hand, the surface instantly seals itself, leaving no lasting scar, no memory of your intrusion. This is the fluidity of non-attachment. It touches everything, yet holds on to nothing. Let the rhythmic silence of the night deepen this understanding. The crickets continue their slow, steady count. Chirp, chirp, chirp. They are measuring the time of your rest, the duration of your stillness. Notice how the sound is perfectly repetitive, yet you do not tire of it. It requires nothing from you but acceptance. If your mind begins to stir, trying to analyze the cricket's pattern or wonder when they will stop, simply reflect that analytical thought. Analysis is present. Let the thought drift. Return your attention to the pure sound itself, the stark, simple presence of the tone, and the vast, encompassing silence that holds it. The silence is not the absence of sound, it is the ground of all sound. Your peace is not the absence of thought, it is the ground of all awareness. We are stabilizing the state of upekkha, equanimity. Consider the ancient Zen parable of the two monks and the woman. Two monks, strict in their vows, came to a river swollen by rain. At the bank, a beautiful young woman stood, unable to cross. The elder monk, without a word, lifted her onto his back, carried her across the torrent, and set her down on the dry path before continuing the journey. Hours later, the younger monk, deeply troubled, could hold his silence no longer. "Brother," he burst out, "our vows strictly forbid contact with women, especially one so young and beautiful. How could you carry her?" The elder monk stopped, looked back calmly at his companion, and smiled. "I put the woman down at the riverbank hours ago," he said softly. "Are you still carrying her?" This parable reflects the mirror mind. The experience of carrying the woman was the reflection on the water. The elder monk allowed the experience to pass, leaving no trace. The younger monk, however, grasped the reflection, held the image, and allowed the residue to disturb his peace hours later. You are the elder monk. You are the still lake. Whatever arose in your day, whatever small burden you carried, whatever success you celebrated, it has passed. You put it down at the threshold of this restful night. Do not carry it into this sacred chamber of stillness. Feel the weight lifting from your shoulders, your chest, your brow. Release the tension that holds the memory of the day. Let the muscles of your face soften completely. Allow your jaw to relax, your tongue to rest gently on the floor of your mouth. The mirror mind is utterly relaxed. It exerts no effort to reflect. Reflection happens naturally, effortlessly, perfectly. Allow your breathing to settle into this effortless rhythm. The breath becomes shallow, smooth, and deeply satisfying. It is the gentle rise and fall of the lake's surface, barely perceptible, yet continuous. Inhale the cool, clean air of the deep night. Feel it reaching the quietest corners of your being. Exhale, releasing any lingering sense of effort or control. Surrender to the flow. The more perfectly still the water becomes, the more perfectly it reflects the reality of the sky. The deeper your inner stillness, the clearer you perceive the reality of your own peace. There is no need to hold on to this peaceful feeling. If you grasp the peace, you create an opposite, the fear of losing it, and that grasping itself becomes a ripple. Simply allow the peace to be present, reflected perfectly on your inner surface. It is part of the flow, just like the thought, just like the sound of the crickets. Chirp, chirp, chirp. The rhythm is now utterly hypnotic. It is the sound of the universe settling into its own deep, ancient sleep. Let this sound guide you deeper into the sense of weightlessness. You are floating now, buoyed by the vast, cool patience of the mirror mind. The clouds of thought are fewer now, smaller, moving slower. The gaps between them are immense. Rest in the vastness of the gap. Rest in the flawless, silent space between the reflections. This silence is your home. This stillness is your true nature. We are not pursuing an outcome. We are simply allowing the natural process of stabilization to occur. The lake, when left undisturbed, settles perfectly into stillness on its own accord. Your mind, when left unengaged, settles perfectly into peace. Feel the deep, stabilizing coolness of the night air surrounding you, holding you, protecting this precious reflective state. All is well. All is passing. All is perfectly reflected and perfectly released. You are the mirror, clear and vast. You are the stillness, deep and unwavering. Sink now into the final profound rest, carried by the endless, steady pulse of the silent night. The mirror mind is at peace. Part 9. The deepening current of rest. The current of rest flows deeper now, carrying you beyond the shores of simple stillness and into the vast, open ocean of profound surrender. You have navigated the choppy waters of the day's residual thought, and you have found the quiet harbor of the breath. Now, the anchor is fully dropped, and the ship of the body is settling into the deep, soft silt of absolute repose. Feel the profound, unhurried rhythm of your breathing, the only active movement remaining within this landscape of stillness. The inhale is a slow, wide expansion, gentle and cool. The exhale is a long, warm, oceanic release, sinking you further down. Allow the weight of the air leaving your lungs to become the catalyst for deeper relaxation, a subtle, gravitational pull, urging every fiber of your being toward the supporting surface beneath you. We begin a deliberate, slow descent, moving through the body like a monk cleaning the temple, sweeping away the last, finest dust of tension. Start at the very crown of your head, the highest point, the place where we often hold the subtle pressure of thinking, planning, and achieving. Imagine the scalp softening, the skin relaxing away from the skull. There is no need for structure here, no need for alertness, just a gentle, dissolving ease. Feel the warmth of the blood flow spreading across the dome of your head, softening the entire landscape, inviting every follicle, every tiny nerve ending to let go. The crown is yielding, spacious, and utterly quiet. Allow that wave of release to flow downward into your forehead. The skin of the brow is often held taut, a silent expression of concentration or worry. Invite the breath to smooth out this space, as if a warm, slow cloth were wiping away every crease, every line, every subtle furrow. The forehead becomes wide, smooth, and empty. Feel the muscle fibers lengthen, soften, and dissolve into the pervasive, honeyed warmth. Notice the sensation of the skin separating from the bone beneath, a profound, internal spaciousness emerging just behind the brow. There is nothing left to figure out, nothing left to solve. Only the gentle, deep current of rest. Let this softening continue its slow, deliberate journey into the delicate architecture around your eyes. Feel the weight of your eyelids, heavy and thick, resting effortlessly over the eyes themselves. The eyes, which have gathered so much light and information throughout the day, are now utterly still, resting deeply within their sockets. Imagine the muscles that move the eyes relaxing completely, surrendering their vigilance. They sink back, soft and warm, cushioned by the darkness behind them. The tiny, persistent movements of residual thought cease, and the eyes become like two smooth, dark stones resting at the bottom of a still, deep pond. Feel the warmth seeping into the corners of your eyes, dissolving any trace of strain or dryness. The space between the eyebrows widens further, a gateway to deeper peace. The attention flows now to the cheeks, the temples, and the hinge of the jaw. This is a crucial threshold. Surrender. Bring your awareness to the masseter muscles, the strong, resilient fibers that clench and hold the unspoken words of the day. Invite the deep, warm breath to move into this space, dissolving the grip. Imagine the muscle fibers softening, releasing their hold, one by one. The lower jaw separates slightly from the upper jaw, creating a profound, slack ease. The tongue, heavy and wide, rests without effort on the floor of the mouth. Feel the weight of your cheeks settling, pulling gently downward, softening the lines around the lips. This surrender of the jaw is a surrender of control, a profound letting go of the need to resist. The warmth seeps deeper, a slow, persistent current spreading through the entire facial structure, inviting everything to rest, rest, rest. The ears, too, soften, releasing the need to listen, settling into the quiet hum of the night. The wave of stillness moves slowly down the delicate structure of the neck and throat. The neck is the bridge between the world of thought and the world of the body, and it often holds the tension of communication and posture. Feel the back of your neck lengthening, releasing its grip. Allow the weight of your head to be fully supported by the surface beneath, dissolving the need for any muscle to hold it aloft. The muscles along the sides of the neck soften, yielding. The throat opens, wide and vulnerable, releasing any constriction, any lump of unexpressed feeling. Imagine the spine in the cervical area becoming fluid and warm, settling into its natural, effortless curve. Each breath that moves through the throat is profoundly easy, requiring no effort whatsoever. The neck is soft, long, and free. Now we approach the vast territory of the shoulders. These broad planes carry the visible and invisible burdens of our lives, the responsibilities, the expectations, the worries. Bring your entire slow focus to the tops of your shoulders. Notice if they are still subtly lifted toward your ears, a residual posture of defense. On the next exhale, invite them to melt, to spread, to dissolve away from the neck. Imagine the shoulders are made of warm wax, softening and spreading outward, sinking heavily into the surface beneath. Feel the profound, satisfying release as the weight of the shoulders transfers completely to the surface supporting you. Let them become impossibly heavy, weighted down by the sheer force of relaxation. The sensation is one of melting, of becoming wider and flatter, of letting the entire structure of the upper torso spread and settle. This is the moment when you truly put down the heavy knapsack of the day. You do not need to carry it through the night. It is safe to let it rest. This current of release flows down the long, strong muscles of your arms. First, the upper arms, the biceps and triceps. Feel the thickness and the weight of these muscles. They soften now, releasing any residual strength or readiness. They become inert, heavy channels of warmth. Elbows soften, the joints yielding their tightness. The forearms become heavy, sinking into the surface, feeling the texture of the material beneath them. Every muscle fiber in the arm is now deeply relaxed, warm and still. The attention moves to the hands, the instruments of our action, our grasping, our control. Feel the weight of your hands resting at your sides or on your abdomen. Notice the slight, natural curl of the fingers, the posture of true rest. Imagine the warmth flowing into your palms, softening the skin, relaxing the intricate network of bones and tendons. The fingers become soft, weighted, and slightly tingly with the deep flow of relaxation. Release any grip, any holding, any residual tension in the knuckles or fingertips. The hands are utterly still, surrendered, resting completely. They have done their work for the day, and now they are free to simply be. We turn inward now, to the core of the torso. Focus on the chest and the heart space. Allow the front of the chest to soften and sink slightly. Release the posture of shielding or holding. The ribs move gently with the breath, expanding slowly on the inhale, softening inward on the exhale. Feel the profound internal rhythm of your heart beating, slow and steady, a quiet drum in the center of your stillness. This internal sound is a reminder of the life force flowing effortlessly within you, requiring no command, no effort on your part. Simply allow the chest to be open, soft, and deeply at ease. The breath deepens now, settling fully into the abdomen. This is the center of your body, the hara, the place of deep grounding. Feel the slow, gentle expansion of the belly on the inhale, rising like a slow, deep wave. On the exhale, feel the abdomen soften and sink, releasing all the way back toward the spine, completely yielding. This rhythmic, tidal motion of the breath massages your internal organs, soothing and settling everything within the core. Focus on the sensation of the internal organs settling. There is no urgency, no tension, only the fluid, heavy warmth of surrender. Imagine the space in your belly becoming wide and soft, a spacious chamber of peace. With every exhale, you are releasing not just air, but any remaining knots of worry or digestive tension held deep within the core. The abdomen is soft, pliable, and utterly relaxed. Let the wave of stillness flow down into the broad, foundational structure of your hips and pelvis. This area often carries the weight of stability and movement, holding deep, unconscious tension. Invite the hips to widen, to spread, to become heavy and rooted. Feel the full weight of your lower body sinking into the support beneath, a profound surrender to gravity. The muscles in the glutes and the lower back soften and release their grip. Imagine the bones of the pelvis growing heavy, sinking down, 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 finding perfect alignment and rest. There is no need to hold yourself up. You are fully supported. The current of rest moves down the large, strong muscles of the thighs. Feel the thickness and weight of your quadriceps and hamstrings. These muscles carry us through the world, but now they are still, inert, releasing their readiness for motion. Invite a deep, warming sensation to flow through the length of the thighs, dissolving any residual stiffness or strain. The warmth penetrates deeply, softening the muscle fibers all the way to the bone. The legs are becoming tremendously heavy, weighted, sinking into the mattress or floor with an unstoppable force of relaxation. Continue this slow, deliberate descent into your knees. Allow the back of the knees to soften, releasing any subtle bracing or tightness. The joints become fluid and loose, completely at rest. The warmth flows down into the calves, the strong, resilient muscles of the lower leg. Feel the calves yielding, softening, releasing their tension. Imagine them melting, spreading, becoming heavy and wide against the supporting surface. The sensation is one of profound, effortless weight. The stillness flows into the ankles, the delicate hinges that connect us to the ground. Release any rotation, any slight twist. The ankles are soft, pliable, and entirely still. The feet, which bear the burden of our movement and balance, are now completely released. Feel the weight of your feet, the arch softening, the soles relaxing. They are warm, heavy, and inert. Finally, bring your soft, gentle awareness to your toes. Each small toe, one by one, releases its hold. The muscles relax, the joints soften. Imagine a warm, golden oil flowing into the very tips of your toes, dissolving any lingering tension, any subtle clenching. The toes are soft, loose, and entirely at rest. You have now swept the temple of your body, moving from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes, inviting every muscle, every joint, every cell to surrender to the current of rest. Take a deep, slow breath and feel the complete, unified weight of your body. Notice the profound difference between the feeling of the body now and the feeling of the body earlier. There is a deep, honeyed warmth spreading through your limbs, a sensation of sinking, of merging with the earth beneath you. You are no longer holding yourself up. You are held. The boundary between your skin and the supporting surface is becoming blurred. You are sinking deeper and deeper, dissolving into the moment, becoming indistinguishable from the peace that surrounds you. In this state of profound, unified rest, there is a Zen story of a traveler lost in the mountains who finally finds a small, hidden monastery. He asks the master, "How do you find peace in such a remote and difficult place?" The master simply replies, "When hungry, I eat. When tired, I sleep." The traveler, confused, says, "But everyone eats and sleeps. What is your secret?" The master smiled gently and said, But when they eat, they are thinking of 1,000 other things. When they sleep, they are dreaming of 1,000 worries. When I eat, I simply eat. When I sleep, I simply sleep." This is the deepening current of rest, to simply sleep without thought, without worry, without resistance. You are now simply sleeping. The mind is quiet, the body is heavy, and the breath is a slow, soft tide. Feel the deep, pervasive warmth in your chest, spreading into your arms, down your legs. The warmth is relaxation. The warmth is safety. You are sinking deeper, deeper, deeper into the soft, comforting certainty of the present moment. Nothing is required of you now, nothing at all. Allow the thoughts that arise to drift by like slow, pale clouds across a vast, empty sky. Do not engage them. Do not follow them. Simply notice their presence and allow them to pass, unhooked, unexamined. Your only task is the gentle, exquisite pleasure of sinking. The final surrender is the surrender of the mind to the body, allowing the deep, physiological need for rest to take precedence over all mental activity. The body is ready. The body is heavy. The body is melting. You are drifting now, suspended in the gentle current, moving slowly toward the threshold of profound, healing sleep. Every exhalation is a step closer to the darkness, the quiet, the deep peace that awaits. Let the world fade, let the sounds soften, let the light diminish. Rest now. Deeply, completely, profoundly rest. Polarization is heavy, heavy, heavy. The mind is still, still, still. Only the breath remains, a soft, slow guide into the deepest current of rest. Peace, quiet, rest. Part 10. Merging with the silence of the lotus pond. The journey inward has brought you to the deepest point of the night, a profound stillness that holds the entire world suspended in its gentle, unmoving palm. You are no longer merely observing the lotus pond. You are woven into its fabric, a silent thread in the vast, dark tapestry of its existence. The air around you has thickened, becoming cool and velvety, a substance that cushions every sound and absorbs every lingering flicker of tension. Feel the darkness now, not as an absence of light, but as a presence, a heavy, luxurious blanket drawn over the hurried rhythms of the day. This darkness is ancient, restorative, a space where effort ceases and true rest begins. It presses softly against your closed eyelids, dissolving the final, stubborn images that the mind tries to cling to. Allow your vision to dissolve completely into this obsidian calm. There is nothing left to see, nothing left to watch over. Your breath is the only movement in this monumental stillness. It is slow, deep, and utterly dependable. A quiet current flowing through the center of your being. Listen to the gentle friction of the air entering and leaving your lungs, a sound so subtle it is almost a feeling. Inhale, peace settles. Exhale, the last resistance melts away. With every outward sigh, you release another tiny anchor that held you to the shore of worry. You are now floating entirely upon the surface of the midnight pond. The water beneath you is not cold, but perfectly temperate, matching the warmth of your own surrender. It is a dense, liquid silk, holding you effortlessly. There is no need to paddle, no need to steer, no need to even hold your balance. The flow of existence which you have been learning to trust is now carrying you completely. You are utterly surrendered to its unhurried, powerful momentum. Look down, or rather, feel the reflection beneath you. The surface of the pond is a mirror of perfect, unblemished blackness, interrupted only by the faintest, most distant pinpricks of starlight. These stars are not distant cold fires, they are the scattered lights of your own consciousness, now resting. They tremble slightly on the water, a quiet, reassuring shimmer that confirms the vastness of the universe and the small, necessary place you occupy within it. The lotus leaves surround you now, enormous, circular shields of deep green that have absorbed the moonlight and now radiate a hushed, earthy silence. They are anchored deep in the mud, yet their surface remains pristine, untouched by the darkness below. This is the ultimate Zen lesson of the pond. Purity arises from the deepest mire. Your own past anxieties, the worries that once felt like heavy chains, are merely the fertile mud from which this current, profound peace has bloomed. There is no sound here save the gentle, almost imperceptible lapping of the water against the edges of the broad, floating leaves. It is a whisper of water meeting skin, a sound that speaks of integration and acceptance. Every cell in your body is resonating with this rhythm. Your muscles, which have held the memory of the day's tension, are now softening, unwinding like ancient scrolls finally laid flat. Feel the weight of your arms, heavy and loose, sinking slightly into the perfect supporting fluid. Feel the weight of your legs, long and still, resting without expectation or demand. The darkness is now entering you, not invading, but filling the empty spaces left by hurried thought. It is a nourishing darkness, rich with the minerals of rest. Imagine this darkness pooling in the hollows behind your knees, settling into the curve of your spine, cushioning the delicate architecture of your skull. This is the moment of true merging. You are not separate from the pond, you are the water, you are the leaf, you are the deep, sustaining mud. The boundary between your skin and the cool night air has dissolved. You are simply existence, flowing. Think of the old parable of the master who was asked what he did before enlightenment. "I chopped wood and carried water," he replied. "And after enlightenment?" "I chop wood and carry water." The action is the same, but the inner relationship to the action has changed. Surrender is not about ceasing to exist, it is about ceasing to struggle against existence. You are being. Carried now, not by effort, but by the innate current of life itself. This current asks nothing of you except trust. Trust the darkness. Trust the water. Trust the rhythm of your own heart, which beats on, steady and slow, a drum in the cathedral of the night. The mind, which was once a noisy marketplace, is now a silent, moonlit courtyard. If a thought arises, a tiny, stray whisper from the day, do not engage it. Do not judge it. Simply observe it as a bubble rising from the depths of the pond, watching its surface pop and dissolve back into the water without leaving a ripple. There is nothing you need to solve now. There is nothing you need to remember. There is only this deep, enveloping peace. Your breath deepens further, becoming almost imperceptible, the breath of the sleeping earth. As you inhale, draw in the stillness of the midnight air, cool and clean. As you exhale, release any residual warmth, any last trace of heat generated by effort or stress. The silence of the pond is absolute. It is a silence so profound that it seems to have a texture, a density, a velvety pressure against the eardrums that is deeply comforting. This is the silence that precedes creation, the silence in which all things are perfectly balanced and whole. Rest in this whole perfection. You are sinking now, very slowly, into the deep, soft bed of the pond's floor. This sinking is not frightening. It is the natural descent into restorative sleep. Imagine your body becoming heavier and heavier, each muscle fiber relaxing its grip, each bone finding its most effortless alignment. You are heavy, anchored, unmoving. The lotus flowers, which held their secrets through the day, are now fully closed, their petals tightly wrapped around the central heart. They are sleeping deeply, gathering strength for the morning light. You are mirroring their rest. Your own heart is wrapping itself in the silence, gathering strength, repairing, restoring. Feel the support beneath you now. It is vast, boundless, and utterly reliable. The earth beneath the water holds you. The water itself cradles you. The darkness shelters you. You are held in a triple embrace of safety. There is no past here, no future here. There is only this singular, timeless moment of suspended peace. Let your awareness narrow down to the single point of the softest, slowest breath. Follow that breath inward, deeper than the pond's surface, deeper than the roots of the lotus, down to the quiet, central core of your own being. Here, in this core, there is only peace. It is not a peace that must be earned or maintained. It is the fundamental nature of your existence when all striving is laid aside. Your mind is drifting now, moving away from the shore of wakefulness, carried gently by the tide of slumber. The thoughts become slower, hazier, less distinct, like distant whispers heard through layers of water. Let them go. Let the mind become as still and reflective as the pond's surface. You are safe. You are held. The universe requires nothing of you now except this surrender. Allow the soothing darkness to seep into your consciousness. Let it become the color of your dreams, a rich, deep, velvet black, embroidered only with the occasional soft shimmer of starlight. Deeper now, deeper into the surrender. The weight of your body is magnificent, a heavy, beautiful anchor of peace. You are merging with the silence. You are dissolving into the flow. The current of rest is strong and true. Let the words themselves begin to fade, becoming less distinct, less necessary. They are like fireflies that have flickered their last light and are now settling into the darkness. There is only the breath. There is only the stillness. There is only the deep, deep, restorative peace of the midnight pond. You are safe. You are whole. You are sinking into the deepest rest. The flow carries you. The flow holds you. The flow is you. Rest now. Deeper. Rest. Deeper. Peace.